I must have been 5 or 6 years of age while growing up in Lebanon. One time I wake up in the middle of the night and I really had to go to the bathroom. As I'm leaving my bed, there was a night light projecting a certain shadow. I looked on the wall. I purposely, perfect, thank you. I purposely looked at the wall and I noticed there was a shadow. And that was a shadow of what looked to be like a monster to me at the time. Now I was scared. I covered myself back up again and I tried to go to sleep. 5 minutes later, I really had to go. So I peeked back up again. Now the monster had even bigger hands. And I had a choice, either go in bed or I needed to ask for some help. So I tried calling my mom. It was like, Mama, Mama. Nobody heard me. I had to raise up the volume. It was like, Mom, Mom, Mom. She heard me finally. She came, put the lights on, and went to me. She goes, Shu habibi, shu baik, is everything okay? I said, Mom, there is a monster. She's like, where? Show me. I was like, over there. She's like, show me. I uncover myself and I point to the wall. And of course, the monster had disappeared. She's like, Habibi, what do you want? I said, Mom, I want to go to the bathroom. She's like, give me your hand. And then she took me to do my business. Many times we let fear stand in the way for us to achieve certain things. I heard once the word fear stands for false expectations appearing real. Of course, when false expectations appear real, it will paralyze us. The results that this country have been able to achieve have only been able to achieve because of people like you, people that took actions in spite of maybe being a bit afraid or unsure. How will things turn out? Now let me ask you a question. How many of you here have ideas? Raise your hands. How many of you really have more than one idea? Raise both hands. Excellent, excellent. Now here's one other question for you. How many times you've had ideas that stayed inside of you because of fear? And maybe one day you're walking and you end up saying, oh, this is my idea. It's actually coming to life. Has that ever happened to you? I don't know about you, but man, it has happened to me. If you are able to achieve your vision, I'm going to say we because I've been living in the UAE for the last 13 years and I feel part of this country as well. I say if we are able to achieve 2021 vision and to see the beautiful future that awaits all of us down the line, we're going to need to do things that we've never done before. You know, they say all the results we have today are a consequence of the actions we have taken, and the actions we take are a consequence of the beliefs that we have deep inside of us. And the moment you change your beliefs, you can take new actions, and when you take new actions, you get different results. My talk today is really about how can we not just allow a few people to rise to the top and bring over their ideas, but we want to bring. They say success is not about adding to those that have, but it's about adding to those that do not have as much. And that's what it's all about. Just to give you a bit of background about my story, how come I'm standing here in front of you sharing with you the concepts of how to sell your ideas? Well, many years ago, at age 17, my family moved from Lebanon to the US. 2 years after I got there, I decided to get me a job and get some experience, make some money. So I go out one day, I come back home, I tell my dad, Dad, I got a job as a marketing executive with an international marketing company. My dad looks at me, he goes, okay, son, what are you gonna be selling? I said, knives, kitchen knives, سكاكين. قال لي ولو ما قدرت تلاقي شيء تاني. Some of my friends would make fun of me during summer, would say, hey, you look sharp today. You get it, سكاكين, sharp. At the beginning, I was having a horrible time. And 2 weeks into my journey into that business, I went to my boss, his name is Tom Cannon, and said, Tom, I don't think this business is for me, and I'd like to maybe leave that business. And he's like, Rامز, I was expecting you to come and tell me this just about now. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you know, Rامز, you're not from the country, you don't speak very good English, and you don't know lots of people. The 3 prerequisites in order for you to succeed at selling. And I was like, okay. He goes, well, the reason why you're here with me, Rامز, because deep inside of you, you feel you can do this much, but you're only doing that much. Is that right? I was like, mm-hmm. He goes, Rامز, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is known as frustration. He said, are you going to let frustration make the best out of you, or are you going to make the best out of frustration? There was a sign behind him that says, quitters never win and winners never quit. I told myself, I am not a quitter. On the way out, I bumped into the #1 salesperson. اسمها Melissa Moyer. قلت لها, Melissa, can you give me the secret for success? قالت لي, Rامز, you got to do 3 things, Rامز. I was like, what? Tell me. I'll take down some notes. She goes, Rامز, #1 is you got to read the books on sales. قلت بنفسي ولو أنا ما بحب أقرأ, what is #2? قالت لي, Rامز, you gotta listen to audio programs in your car. Here I said, Melissa, look, I am 19 years of age. I listen to cool music in my car, not people talking. What is #3? She said, Rامز, you gotta invest in yourself and you gotta go to the summer conference coming up. At that time, I said, Melissa, I asked you how I can make money, not spend money. And she shared with me a one-liner that changed my life. She said to me, Rامز, yeah, I understand. There's this very famous guy by the name of Benjamin Franklin. He said many years ago, I'm thinking, what did this guy say? He said, take whatever coins you got in your pockets and invest them in your mind, because your mind will fill your pockets with gold. When I heard that, I said, okay, maybe it's worth a conversation with the bank. I go to my dad, I say, Dad, can I borrow $20? My dad looks at me, he goes, what for, son? Don't you have a job? I said, yes, but my first check was $11.27. It was only commission, so عمولي. And I need to buy a book on sales. My dad looked at me and he goes, you want to buy a book? He had never heard me say that before. He goes, here is $40, go buy 2 books while you're at it. Now, something happened after that experience, and that is, I started reading, I started listening, I started learning, and my results started changing. My belief system started changing, and I was able to achieve more. Now, within 2 weeks, they asked me to come and give a small speech within the sales meeting. They told me, you have 10 minutes. I stood up and sat down in less than 2. I don't remember what I said, but here is what happened the next day. At the sales meeting, a young girl comes and she goes, Rامز, I just want to thank you for your tips because I made my first sale. So haram, I thought, okay, you know, she made the first sale, she maybe have sold 1 knife. So ما حبيت أطلع بالorder. قالت لي, no, look at it. And she puts it in my face. I had to take the order away and I started reading and looking at all the different items. She had in this one order more than $1,000 worth of knives being sold, which was more than what I was selling. I looked at her, I said, what did you do? I was confused. She looked at me and she said, Rامز, I did exactly what you told me to do yesterday. Right at that moment, there was this warm feeling in my heart that got me addicted to sharing my ideas and sharing my successes with other people. And I learned that sometimes failure is needed because failure is a much better teacher than success. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he discovered the filament, which today lights up our universe. Imagine how he looked at failure at that time. You know, I got addicted. And people ask me, what do you do for a living? I just simply say, you know what? I give people hope. I give sales people hope. Because what is hope? Hope is when you have new ideas that fill you up on the inside, that you leave here today inspired, educated, motivated. And because of that, you have new beliefs and you will take new actions. So the world does not lack ideas, but what the world lacks is the ability to bring your ideas into surface, and your idea needs to get its spotlight. And unfortunately, in many occasions, your idea will have one shot in order for it to make it. So today really is about how do we drive the ability to sell your ideas. And I love some of the presentations in here of the students that were sharing their, what I call their selling story. So what is selling? I want you to take your finger like this. Everybody take your finger and point either to your left or to your right. And I want you to ask the person next to you, can you be my partner? You're going to do a small exercise with me. Take your finger. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Can you be my partner? You got to pick one person. If you don't have a partner, join a group so that you'll be 3 people in the group. And I'm going to ask you a very quick question. I want you to discuss among each other the definition of what is selling. Ready? Take a quick 30-second among each other, quickly have a quick conversation and explore what is the definition of to sell. Ready? Go. Okay. Anybody has definitions, you can speak out and let me hear. Yes, sir. Get people to accept your idea or product or commodity. Yes. Yes.
Get people to buy the idea.
Get people to buy your ideas. Yes, in the back, young lady. Convincing someone to buy something. Very good. Yes. Sorry? To create the need. Hello. Yes. Make them your life experience. So show them how they can live with your products.
They have to believe your idea.
You have to believe in your idea.
Yes.
Someone said that. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Like, where is that coming from? Thank you. You all have great answers, and just for time's sake, I'll keep moving. I learned at a very young age that in order for me to get something, so when you sell, you really want someone to give you something, right? At the very basic, in order for you to get what you want, you must give people what they want first. I have one word, very philosophical. To sell is to be of service. To sell is to serve. To be of service to someone else. And in order for us to serve other people, we must listen to what the needs of other people are. I love the concept of innovate. I got it. People are innovative. Companies need innovation. They are the platform to bring both people together. There is a problem over here, a problem over here together. We have a solution for both parties. More people can innovate, and then more companies can get access to these innovations as opposed to them going to die after the semester is complete. There's a guy called Ron Kaufman. He talks about the definition of service. Well, here is his definition. To be of service or to serve, service is to proactively add value to others. The key word here is what? To proactively add value to others. And today, every single idea that existed today, people in many occasions did not really want or need that idea, but when we are thinking 2-3 steps ahead, we start identifying those opportunities just like my brothers and sisters in here were able to do, and create and launch some concepts there for them. I'm going to share with you a few stories from the world around us, something that's a little bit relevant. Maybe a few months ago, I watched the movie called The Founder of the McDonald brothers. Anybody saw that movie? So here's basically in a nutshell. Ray Kroc is the current, was the CEO, founder of the franchise opportunity, but he did not found the actual restaurants of McDonald's. What happened is he was a salesman selling milkshake machines. He gets a call from San Bernardino, somewhere in Texas, and one restaurant asks him for 8 machines. Him thinking, I'm having a hard time selling 1 machine. You people want 8? There must be something wrong. He drives over there and he sees and he observes. And he found something that was revolutionary. The speed by which this restaurant needed to produce food and the masses of people that were there wanting to consume that food. He saw his spotlight. He got he saw the vision. The founders were satisfied with their idea. It was working, but he saw that this idea can change the way the world consumes food. And also the way that they become after they consume it. But that's a completely different story. But here's what happened. You know the story. He convinced them to go in business with them. They say yes. Next thing is, by the time he passed away, in 1961, he paid them 2.7. He bought the brothers out. Mr. Ray Kroc doesn't even have McDonald in his name. He bought the name McDonald for 2.7 million in 1961. When he passed away in 1984, his net worth was more than 1.5 billion US dollars. There is another gentleman that you might not heard of, but you've heard of the company Zappos, right? So here is Nick Swinworm. Nick wanted to buy shoes, wanted to buy these shoes, and he couldn't find them in his size, and he said, you know what, the internet should be a place where I actually go and be able to buy what I really wanted. Now, when he took his idea to investors, they laughed at him, said, people will want to try the shoes before they actually buy them. Yet, at that time, in 1999, 5% of all shoes retailed in North America were bought and shipped online. So he saw an opportunity. His partner, Tony Say, got introduced to the idea, and he saw, oh my God, there is X amount of people throughout the world. And Tony was passionate about delivering his employees and delivering customers happiness. He says, people will not remember what you said or what you did. They will remember how you made them feel. Now that is passion. That is, he was able to create or to sell the idea, take the idea and be able to create a business today that in 2009 was sold to Amazon. And today, Say's net worth is almost $1 billion, just shy of $1 billion. And by the way, his partner still had shares, so also he cashed out in a not bad way either. You all know Tesla, right? You all heard of this car. Now, do you know that the original founder is not this gentleman, Elon Musk? The current CEO is Elon Musk. He was not the actual founder. Martin Eberhard is the gentleman that is the engineer, the scientist. He was the guy that came up with this idea. And in a way, he was not a business person. He didn't really know how to sell and how to market and how to drive the demand and the need for his product. Now, when the business was not doing very well, they were in financial turmoil, Elon came and said, oh my God, this is a gold mine, joined hand with that organization, and actually a little bit later decided that Martin actually is a liability for his own company, and he fired him. Imagine what would it feel like to have built an idea that you see what Tesla is today and you no longer are part of that company. Elon Musk's net worth is almost $20 billion today. I couldn't even find anything on Martin Eberhard. You all know the story of Steve Wozniak. He was the gentleman, the genius behind creating the Apple computer. Now, who was the genius that was able to sell and market that computer? It was nobody but none other than Steve Jobs. You all know that story. Right? I'm going to tell you something. There are two reasons every single sales pitch needs to have two elements. What are the elements that will make anybody want to do anything? They are what we call pain avoidance and what we call seeking pleasure. So everybody here will want to avoid the pain or will want to seek a certain indulgence, a certain pleasure, right? So here's a small story for you. I got a call once from a telemarketer. She called me up. She goes, hi, sir, how are you? I'm calling you from the blank blank hotel. There was a hotel on Sheikh Zayed Road, somewhere over here, very, very beginning before Fairmount. The very one on the corner. What is it called? H. Before, what was it called? Monarch. Thank you. Monarch Hotel. So I'm calling you from the Monarch Hotel. You are on our VIP list. Do you have a few minutes? I'm thinking, I'm VIP. Yeah, I have a few minutes. What do you got for me? And she's like, have you heard about our hotel? I'm thinking, if I'm on your VIP list, of course I've heard about your hotel. I told her I eat there all the time. She's like, oh, okay. Let me tell you, we have this VIP card. It allows you to get 50% discount on meals, on drinks, on memberships, gyms, whatever. all what it will cost you is 800 dirhams. Where would you like me to send you the cards? Have you gotten some of those calls, right? I told her, did you finish? She's like, yeah. I said, today is your lucky day. She thought I was gonna buy. I told her, I teach salespeople for a living, and I'd like to give you a few tips on how to make more sales. Do you want them? She said, yes, please. I was like, do you remember when you asked me, do you know our hotel? What did I answer you? She said, you said you eat there all the time. I said, exactly. What should have been your next question, young lady? She's like, I don't know. But the next question should have been, which is your favorite restaurant? If you would have asked me that question, I would have told you it is Ruth Chris. I like steak. Then you would say, great choice. Perfect. Do you normally come alone or you come with your friends or family? I would have said I come with friends and family. Perfect. How often you come to Ruth Chris? At least once a month. Do you do any other entertainment? I would have told you, yes. And you say how many times, I would have said, and how many people are in your party? I would have said, 3, 4, 5 or whatever. And then you ask me a very subtle question. Mr. Hello, typically, what is the average spend per person? So when you are 4, 5, or 6 people, how much do you spend? And well, basically, if you go to a very nice place, you need to indulge, right? So it's at least maybe 300, 400 dirhams a person. And then you'd simply make some quick calculations and you'd say, Mr. Hello, so if I understand you correctly, you go out at least once for personal and once for business. There's about 4 or 5 people in any one occasion, and you're spending on the average 300 times 5 is 1,500 times 2 is about, 2,500 dirhams per month. Is that right? What would I have to say? And then you would simply calculate and you say, Mr. Hello, per year, this is more than 30,000 dirhams. Is that correct? I would have said yes. And then you'd ask me, Mr. Hello, if I can give you half of that money back at the end of the year, so I give you 15,000 dirhams that you didn't have, what would you do with 15,000 dirhams that you didn't have before? Now, 15,000 dirhams is not a lot of money, but once a year I travel to the US and, I go economy. And I immediately thought, instead of going squeezed, I can go business class. And the difference between one economy seat and the business, and it's exactly 15K. So I said I'd go business class. And you would have told me, Mr. Hello, that seat is all yours and you can have access to the lounge and it will not cost you anything more than what you are currently spending. All what it will be is just a one-time or a yearly membership fee of just 800 dirhams. Where would you like me to send you the card? Now, if she would have done it that way, let me ask you, do you think I would have bought? Would you have bought? You know the best thing about the story? She sent me a text message at the end of the month and she said, Mr. Hello, my name is Andrea. I don't know if you remember me, but I was the #1 saleswoman in the entire UAE using your ideas. Now, let me show you exactly what happened in terms of pain and pleasure. See, in order for someone to buy, there is an equation in people's mind. That is, how serious is the problem that I want to solve and what does it cost? So, price and value. At the first time she did the pitch, you can see the price is 800 dirhams, right? There were some advantages, but I really didn't care about them. Why? Because she was telling me the advantages. The second example that I taught her, did the price change? No. What changed is the perceived value. See, perceived value is in the mind of the audience. And the only way to improve the perceived value in the mind of your audience is not by telling them, but is in asking them. Because when she asked a series of questions, what happened? How much money did I realize I'm currently spending? 30,000. How much? If I can save 50%, I'll get 15,000 back. And what would I do with that? Man, I have business class to the US. Now let me tell you, this is logic, but this business class ticket is the emotion on the inside. And unfortunately or fortunately, people are emotional. People have to buy the idea emotionally before they buy the idea logically. You follow? See, it's the same exact idea that is being sold, but when you have the opportunity to ask questions, you activate what we call the various cortexes in someone's mind, which allows improved engagement, better remembering of certain facts, and you connect emotionally with individuals. I'm going to show you what you do or the way you'd ask questions if you didn't have a two-way conversation. So some of you are going to want to sell your ideas, right? Right? Drive your ideas forward. Then at the end, you're going to have to speak. You're going to have to pitch it. So I love what the students showed there, because being able to pitch your idea, and normally you get about 5 to 7 or up to 10 to 15 minutes, depending on who is the audience. But watch this classic video. You're going to know exactly.
Why do we need a revolutionary user interface? I mean, here's 4 smartphones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interfaces? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 there. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Well, every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now,
the wow effect.
How are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus?
Comedy.
You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it. And boy, have we patented it. So,
wow. 2 minutes and 37 seconds is that speech. But it's clear as the sun. If you didn't connect emotionally with that, there's something wrong with you. But you can clearly see the process he takes the audience through. It's called SCQA. It's how all ideas are born. Normally, there is a situation. S stands for a situation. And a complication. Now, the bigger the complications, the more weight the idea will have. The bigger the problem, the more that idea is going to fly. The bigger the problem in people's mind, in their level of awareness. Sometimes we need to educate people on the problems. Thomas Edison had to install the light for free the first time. Can you imagine? Yeah? So situation complication is where ideas are born. Anytime you're sitting in the car or you're talking to yourself and say, man, this thing is not working. I wish it could be done quicker, faster. Cha-chang, you start. This is the beginning, the seed of a situation and complication. I love the fact that we want to make our country better in the various different departments, and every single day you are interacting with each other, with the system. And what's not working, fix it. If it's slow, get the inspiration to realize how can we help our country achieve its vision by 2021 and even beyond, because life will continue. Life will continue. Now, of course, every situation and complication brings a question. The question is, how can we solve this? How can we do something different? And therefore, the answer, the solution, right? Do you remember your partners? Ready? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Talk with your partner and discuss where was the situation, where was the complication, where was the question, and where was the answer in what Steve Jobs did in this presentation. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 30 seconds. Have a conversation. Was it clear? Were you able to spot the patterns? Well, now, not all ideas are equal. A government, just like any organization, we have limited resources. How can one idea take precedent over another idea? And part of the things that you need to realize is whoever's committee evaluating your ideas, they are looking at what we call the risk versus value. You like that exercise, didn't you? So this is what we call the risk versus reward matrix. Every idea requires, there is a risk and there is a cost with it. And every idea will have different levels of value. So today, whatever will bring highest value, that has the lowest risk and cost, is what we call the low-hanging fruit. So what are some things you can do in your department that can maybe have a certain improvement that does not cost our organization a lot of money, or our government a lot of money? What is it that can happen? And that's part of you being able to understand what we call the priority matrix. The concept of storytelling goes without saying. See, did you like the stories that I shared with you today? Do you notice that when I share with you stories, your mind goes into different places? And it actually stops you from being distracted, and it grabs you towards what the conversation is about. What I've just done is not magical. I love Mr. Abdul Karim's message inside. It was full of stories as well, full of examples. And when this happened, it captivated the entire audience. When you speak and you're pitching your idea, it's all about the stories. It's all about using 3 simple concepts: being emotional, being novel, and being memorable. See, passion shows. If you really believe in your idea, you can tell these youngsters were really excited about the value what they can bring to education, or to health, or to innovation. Many times I work with students, and I work with them, helping them pitch their ideas to various investors, and the investors tell me all the time, Ramiz, we have to buy the person before we buy the idea. And how do you buy a person? It is through their emotional connect. Novelty. You know, Steve Jobs talks about the villain. This is the villain. There is a villain. There is a hero. There is a problem. There is a scenario. He's talking about almost as if it was a person. He uses comedy. He uses drama. And being memorable is through the way he would display slides, the way he would let the images impact the visual of an individual. I'll finish with a small story. My son came to me when he was 13 years of age. That was in 2010. He said, Pop, I'd like to get a BlackBerry for my birthday. Now, I had just gotten one. I said, no, Habibi, you're not getting a BlackBerry. You're going to have to pick another gift and come back and tell me about it. He comes the next day and he goes, I've thought about it. I said, okay, what did you want? He goes, I want the BlackBerry. I said, okay, find something else. He came again the third time. I said, look, if you come back one more time asking for a BlackBerry, I will take away some privileges. So now, he did something that I teach at some of my very advanced sales and negotiation programs. What do you think he did? How? Sorry? Nope. He spoke to his mother. Yes. So my wife comes to me and she goes, honey, I was like, yes. She goes, you know, it's our son's birthday. I was like, yes. And you know, he wants a BlackBerry. Did he tell you about it? I was like, yeah, he's not getting a BlackBerry. She said, well, yeah, I understand. He told me that you didn't want to give him the BlackBerry. And I just want you to know that, you know, we have a really good boy. He's good in school. I was like, yes, I know. He is very athletic. He's very healthy. I was like, yes, I know. And she goes, you know, I'm afraid if we don't give him what he wants, he actually might grab our attention by not being a good student, by starting to doing things bad. I was like, okay, wait. She goes, why don't you go and negotiate a deal with your son? I thought about it, went to him. I said, Habibi, I've been thinking about the BlackBerry thing. Didn't say I spoke to mom. I was thinking about the BlackBerry thing, and I decided to allow you to get the BlackBerry under 3 conditions. He didn't hear the conditions. He's like, okay. It's like, what? First is you're going to get it in summer. It was February after the school year is finished. He said, fine. I said, second is you're going to continue getting good grades. He said, fine. I said, third, if I find you're abusing the technology, I have the right to remove the BlackBerry from you. So if we're having dinner and you're just sitting there with the BlackBerry, I will take it out. Are we clear? He said, yes. We hugged. We bonded as father and son. We all want the best for our children. And we also want the best for our grandchildren for many generations to come. Maybe here you can think in terms of how do people know you? What will people say about you? Because a lot of time, having someone help you with your idea, having someone help you influence to bring your idea to life is all what it might need in order for us to have a better future. Thank you very much.